Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. And this is freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. There's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright, and no, my content may not be used to train AI and its LLMs. Let's up just a little bit. And my apologies for this being late, but every time I tried recording it, the cats acted up and not in a way I could ignore. Keys to the reading, part one. I interpret, you're going to notice I read things differently. And part one is because I use constellation based astrology, sometimes called true sidereal astrology. It's astrology by the visible sky. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons almost 1800 years ago. So tropical astrologers are reading signs in Roman times. I'm reading the planets in the signs where they are right now, according to astronomy, or reasonably close, actually. And with that, since I'm using the visible sky, there are also 13 signs. Between Scorpio and Sagittarius, there is another sign called the fucus, a symbol of a person holding a snake by the head and the tail. In ancient times, the snake symbolized knowledge. So holding a snake by the head and the tail, control or use of knowledge. And then according to the mythos, gained that knowledge so he could heal himself and then heal others with similar wounds. So it's the sign of the wounded healer. I use the natural size of the constellation. Some people try to make them all the same sizes. They're not. Virgo, in its glory, in all her glory, is just under 50 degrees. But Libra, Scorpio, Aries, Cancer, Ophiuchus, those individually are less than 25. Mother Nature, in her wisdom, made all the constellations all different sizes, and I honor that. And I use astrological midpoints instead of the IAU boundaries. Athan Shementi, in his work, noted that when he was going in on the IAU boundaries, he found that stars from Scorpio were actually pushed into the constellation of Fucus, which is not where they belong. They should be read in Scorpio. So he looked at the zodiac belt. Last bright stars of Scorpio, first bright stars of the Fucus. What's the halfway point? And he used that. And I like it. I think the timing's a little bit better and more accurate. Keys to the reading, part two, and this is how I interpret. I'm using evolutionary astrology. So these transits are lessons to learn. And in evolutionary astrology, you have freedom of choice. Yes, you are fated to face these transits. You are free in how you choose to respond or react to them. So there's an ideal outcome and then there's a shadow. And I let you know both. This is the weekly edition. So these are universal lessons for everyone. So do have some compassion on your fellow Earth travelers. Dates and times are based on the Eastern US time zone, as I am outside of Buffalo, New York. So that's where my dates and times are out of. I'm operating within 1 degree of exact because if I go outside of that, there's some weeks where it gets very overwhelming. And if I'm overwhelmed, you're going to be lost. And the software which I'm using is Capricorn by Prometheus. Um, if you do like the software, do pay attention to the ISAA because it's going to be re-released soon, from what I understand. And here, don't be acting up, cats. Here are the weekly transits for the week of February 16th through the 22nd, 2026, which I'm hoping is better than last week. Last week, my week just stunk. It started out bad and it just went downhill. So the sun is in Aquarius, finding your independence and your authenticity. The moon, a nice calm week this week, actually, is a long stretch in Pisces. So it begins the week in Capricorn, ends the week in Aries with a long stretch in Pisces. So it's actually a fairly steady moon, even with the new moon eclipse on February 17th. I was hoping to have this out on Sunday, but the cats weren't cooperating and I was not staying up all hours of the night. Active planets this week: the sun, your identity; secondly, Venus, your relationships and creativity; and thirdly, Mercury, learning and communication. We do have a sign change this week. Mercury is entering Pisces, so we're slowly moving towards Pisces season. We do have this long transit. Saturn is conjunct Neptune in the sign of Pisces, and that will be carrying on through early March. And retrograde, we have one planet currently retrograde, and that is Jupiter. So, excuse me. So it's a time of retrograde, is a time of reflection. So this is on Jupiter's in Gemini, opportunity to learn. Are you taking them? So let's see. Here we go. Let me get this out of the way over here. Doodle tool. All right. So as you can see, this is the week. These dots here symbolize what is holding over from last week. So anything above is old, anything below is new. Let's start here with the moon, though. We start with the moon in Capricorn. And the transition from Capricorn to Aquarius is actually late Monday night, early Tuesday morning. Every time I've run it, I've got something a little different. So it's there. It does happen. Tuesday, we do have that eclipse. So there'll be the sun, new moon eclipse. That's the sun conjunct the moon and the north node and opposite the south node. So we will have that eclipse. We're not really going to see it because of how far apart the sun and the moon are, at least up here in Buffalo area. I won't see it. If you're a penguin down in Antarctica, enjoy the sights. It's going to be apparently evident in Antarctica, very southern tip of South America, and Southwest Africa, I believe. But nonetheless, we have steady transits throughout this week. Oh, where am I? Sorry, moon. So we do have Aquarius. We go Wednesday afternoon into Pisces, and as you can see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, into Sunday morning. Nice long stretch of Pisces, a nice time to sit back and find some inspiration and seek some inspiration. And as you can see, very few transits, so do take that time for your spiritual practices. I don't preach religion. Whatever your spiritual practices are, this might be a good time to delve into them, especially with Mercury entering Pisces. And then on Sunday, we do have the moon entering Aries. So again, the moon is fairly steady this week. Be a little intense with the eclipse. Okay, I'm not going to clean that out just yet. But for our planets, we do have a transit of the sun finishing, but we do have that eclipse right there. Again, does have influence, but I think more influential will be, oops, there we go. Or just as influential will be Venus, your relationships and creativity. She will be interacting with the nodes of the moon, your destiny, and how you hold yourself back from it. And she'll also be having a trine to Jupiter, opportunity, supporting opportunity. How is relationships providing opportunity for you? So aside from the sun, let's look at Venus and our relationships and how we're working with that. Secondly, I do want to touch a little bit on Mercury because number one, Mercury does have that trine to Jupiter. Again, opportunity and learning. Mercury does rule Gemini, and I'll talk about that later. But also on Friday, we have Mercury entering Pisces. So Mercury will be influential this week as well. We've had quite the stretch where the inner planets are actually playing their cards pretty well. Let me clear that out just to give you, so you can look at this overview. And as you can see, we do have two stretches. We do have an early week, Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday over very early Thursday morning. And then Thursday, Friday, kind of calm. Outside of the Mercury transit, no major transits happening. And then Saturday, we pick up with Mars and Venus again. So all in all, aside from the eclipse, a relatively calm week. And let me get my notes back up here. So let me clear that out. Yeah, I apologize if I'm still sounding a little down, but if you were watching the video last week, you know that I lost a student and I found out more about the accident that took his life. And yeah, so let me get this over back here. And let's look at the continuing transits. This is our continuing transit. Saturn conjunct Neptune in Pisces. To give this to you simply, spiritual maturity. Saturn is about growth and taking action and growth, development, and maturity. And Neptune is about your spiritual practices. I will not preach for religion. Everybody's practices are different, and how you choose to interact with spirit is up to you. But this transit is about growing in your spiritual practices. And in Pisces, you know, Neptune and Pisces, don't just do something, sit there. Be there. Learn to be present. The great lesson of Neptune is to be in the present. You know, the false ego tries to drag you into the future or into the past. Neptune says, what about right here, right now, which is where you are? What can you do? So this is about spiritual maturity. That's the ideal. The shadow of Saturn here is falling into fear. Neptune can get caught up in fantasy, idle fantasies and denial, trying to hide away or escape. And that's just amplified in Pisces. So two shadows here, the shadows I have here. First of all, falling into fear, which is fear or cynicism. Another one of for Saturn is cynicism. Spiritual laziness and practices that lose meaning. It is Saturn can also become a control freak. So my other shadow here is either spiritual laziness or religion, or I'm going to call it religious fundamentalism, where you have this set of rules and ideas that you're trying to impose on everybody else, and these strict practices that just have outside of yourself have no meaning and kind of deny spirit of meaning. Another way of looking at it is falling into complete atheism, just denial of the spirit, just don't want anything to do with it. It's there, don't bother me. And we also have Sun in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus. So in Aquarius, the Sun is learning, Aquarius is learning to be independent and authentic. And the challenge here, the square, a challenge which is designed to strengthen you as you're becoming more authentic and you're shedding off the things that aren't true to you. This challenge, as you're doing that, this challenge is designed to strengthen you to find the peace, the inner, find the inner peace, and that comes from being more authentic, or find that peace that comes from not being authentic. Also with Taurus, you're talking about the bull, strength, finding the peace and strength that from becoming more authentic. Now in the shadow, the sun in Aquarius, you're giving your identity away to the expectations of others, whether you're trying to fit in and be a suit, or you're acting out to get a reaction from other people. And that square becomes a stumbling block, and it's the lazy way out. Uranus in Taurus, you're selling yourself out because of laziness, or the bull in the china shop is the other reason. And I like to think that's an angry response. That's that you're whether you're trying to fit in as the suit or you're trying to provoke a reaction, you're stumbling through and provoking an angry reaction and taking it out. What do I have written here? Yeah, getting caught up in the false ego becomes a stumbling block and leads to loss of individuality through laziness, or I'm going to say anger. All at the core of this, the failure is, and the upside is you gain more authenticity, and independence. The shadow is you're losing your identity. You're stumbling through things, and in the process, losing your identity. And from last week, we begin the week with the moon in Capricorn. So it's time to face a difficult challenge and know that with commitment and self discipline, success is possible. So emotionally, you're up for a challenge. The shadow here is falling into various moods and trying and becoming a bit of a control freak. And this leads to failure and feelings of loneliness. So there we go. On Monday, Mercury in Aquarius trining Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. So Mercury in Aquarius, independent thinking, supporting the opportunity to learn. Are you learning to think for yourself? How are you learning to communicate authentically? How is that supporting the opportunity for you to learn and communicate? And it can lead to mental breakthroughs, where you're understanding things better, and this helps you to find a greater potential. The shadow here is being mentally rigid and stuck in others' ideas and others' perceptions, and this can fuel a crisis of confidence, whether it's overconfidence or underconfidence. And that blocks your ability to learn. So instead of learning to be who you are and communicate your own truths, you're doing what other people are telling you, and it's literally fueling a crisis in confidence because you're not sure, am I doing this right? And it blocks your ability to learn. And also we have Venus. We said Venus was going to be influential. Venus conjunct the North Node. So Venus is your relationships. I also like to think of it as being creativity. Another thing is rest and recreation. Yeah, we all kind of need a break. The North Node is your destiny. So I'm thinking more along the lines of relationships, working with people, or that creativity. And doing it in a more and in Aquarius, it's learning to be more authentic in your relationships, more authentic in your creativity. And how is that helping you move towards, how's working with others or developing your creativity helping you move towards your destiny and purpose in life? The North Node is your life's destiny and purpose. Ideally, what you're doing is you're looking at where the North Node is in your birth chart, understanding that journey, and then how do you make that more authentic? The shadow here is trying to be slick or manipulative, comes across as being fake or shallow, and pulls you away from your purpose or leads you to a false understanding. So instead of you learning more about who you are and what your life's purpose is, you're taking on other people's and other people's interpretation. So you're now learning to be more authentic through others. You're learning to be more fake. And I'm going to do this Monday night into Tuesday. Like I said, I'm not sure. Every time I've run this, it's come up a little bit different. So late Monday night, early Tuesday morning, the moon enters Aquarius. And so that's emotional independence and emotional authenticity, learning to feel what you really feel at heart. And yeah, learning to feel what you really feel. And I would say appreciating yourself for that. The shadow here is staying stuck on an old path that's no longer fulfilling, or feeling feeling the way other people tell you you should feel. So that's the moon in Aquarius. And on Tuesday, we have Venus in Aquarius opposite the South Node in Leo. So here you're working with others to become more authentic in your destiny. And opposition is, or more authentic in your relationships, and how that. And opposition is a time of reflection and imbalancing as well. I'm going to say reflection here more because the South Node in Leo is how are you holding yourself back in life with pointless drama, pointless relationship drama. I'm going to pull out the Venus card here. And how is that keeping you away from your life's purpose? I can't do this because, somebody did to me years ago and I haven't gotten over it. Well, that's the false drama. It's learning to see that for what it is and say, you know what, time to heal and let it go and move on from it. Um, the shadow here is clinging onto that fall, clinging onto that drama. That's going to drag you down, pull you out of balance. And instead of being in the moment, learning with other people, you're going to be rehashing and reliving those past bad relationships. And also, I have here written shallow, superficial relationships lead to power struggles that feed pointless drama and keep you from fulfilling your life's purpose. So, rehashing those dramas of the past just pulls you down, pulls you away from your life's purpose. Also, Tuesday morning, this will be exact about 7:08 if I remember right. Yeah, the new moon eclipse in Aquarius. And like I said, the penguins are going to be the ones to see it and not us up here in the northern hemisphere. Life happens. So this is the sun. An eclipse is when the sun is conjunct the moon and the nodes of the moon. And this is up here in the northern hemisphere. This is a very wide conjunction, which is why we're not going to see it. Um, and why it's going when you're down like a south why when you're down in Antarctica they'll see it exact because they'll be very close together. Um, so the sun and the moon, the sun, your core identity, the moon, your soul and emotional self, conjunct the North Node, your destiny and purpose in Aquarius. Learn to be more authentic. How are you? How is your identity being more authentic? How are you feeling more authentic? And how are you making your life's purpose true to yourself? All those three things are coming together at once. And Venus is kind of caught in the sand, is kind of caught in a weird place here. Does this, yeah, Venus is caught in the middle of all that. So again, and working with other people. And reflect on how pointless drama has kept you away from that. I know a lot of people are talking about this conjunction. They're not talking about the opposition. South Node's got a hand to play. Pointless drama. How is pointless drama kept you away from your life's purpose, kept you away from your core identity and you learning to be who you really are, feeling what you really feel, real relationships, and your destiny? So being aware of that. So there's a couple parts there. And the shadow of this, who do I? Hi, Smokey. Come on down here. Come on, Smokey. Down. The shadow of this, the sun, the moon, the north node in Aquarius, instead of becoming more authentic, you're selling yourself out to other people's expectations. Whether it's being that suit, I look at the clothes of people like, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer, so I have to dress this way. Or I'm going to be an engineer, I've got to dress this way. Or I'm a librarian, and librarians always, whatever. You know, putting on an external image that's totally opposite of who you are inside. But selling out for an image is what you're doing. Or acting out. Shadow of Aquarius is acting out to get a reaction from other people. Um, and with the sun, it's a false identity. With the moon, it's you not feeling what you're really feeling. Relationships, shallow, superficial. And with the North Node, your denial of your destiny, or you're taking on other people's visions of of what you're here to become and who you're here to be. And to tie the South Node in here with it, the South Node is all that pointless drama of the past. It's dragged right back in, pulls you out of balance, and just ruins the opportunity for you to grow and move on. Yeah, it drags you away from your destiny is what I have right in here. Yeah, be careful becoming overly moody or dramatic or giving the expectations of others. This can create a false ego sense of self and drag you away from your destiny. Yeah. Your kitten commercial here, this little bugger. Yeah, hold her up. This is little Smokey. She's a long hair. She's all gray. She's really, really nice. The reason I keep her is because my friend's daughter fell in love with her, but can't have a cat in her house. So many people want her because she has that nice soft hair. She's a very friendly personality. So that's your kitten commercial for today. Come on, lay down, lady. Can you stay put? Thank you. Wednesday, the moon enters Pisces, and it's time to seek inspiration, find a higher purpose in this moment. Um, Opportunities for spiritual growth can occur. Be open to them. Deep soul experiences, I would say. The shadow here is falling in, withdrawing from the world, or falling into empty and meaningless fantasies that just distract you away from where you are and what you're experiencing and what you're feeling. It could be denial of what you're really feeling. Thursday, Mercury enters Pisces. Yay. Mercury is about learning and communication and also paying attention. And in Pisces, lesson is learning to be present. It's also, I do say it does have spiritual implications. So this can be spiritual learning, spiritual communication, and gaining information from a higher perspective as well. My notes here. Yeah, so thinking at a higher level. Gaining information. Sometimes you just know something without knowing why you know it. Mercury can be kind of logical, and this can be a season with Mercury and Pisces. You can sometimes know something and not realize, well, I just knew that this was going to happen, but I can't tell you how I knew. Those types of synchronicities do open up to those synchronicities of information and ideas. The shadow here is just getting lost in your thoughts or fantasies, or becoming deceived about your knowledge or your ability to communicate. No, thanks, Kit. I love how my cats just do stuff. So it's deceiving about your abilities to learn and communicate. Also possible to become mindless, forgetful. If you want to talk about the shadow of Mercury and Pisces, this is the space cadet. Literally, I hate to say the airhead, but yeah, Mercury and Pisces can be very airheaded at times. Friday, take a breath. Remember to exhale, repeat. Saturday, Mars in Capricorn, sextiling Chiron in Pisces. Having the courage to do the work and create an interest in healing and releasing wounds. And learning to be assertive and standing up for yourself can help in the healing journey. Mars is about having courage and assertiveness. And let's remember that Capricorn, the strange animal that it is half seal, half goat. It's they call it the sea goat and stuff. So sea, water, inspiration, the goat. Let's take it and make this real. So it's having the courage to do that hard work. And as you're doing that work and bringing things into reality, it can create an interest in a healing experience and the ability to release wounds or even understand them from a higher level. So this is, as you're doing that work, be open to the healing experience. The shadow here is falling into fear, becoming a bit of a control freak, which is what Capricorn can do. Oh, excuse me. Can result in deeper wounding and the desire to numb the pain of failure any way possible. And I also have a note here is that fears can feed fantasies. And their fears feed fantasies. They're fantasies that lead to deeper wounding. And we also have Venus in Aquarius trining Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. So Venus in Aquarius, being more authentic in your relationships, also in your creativity. How's that supporting the opportunity to learn? Are you learning from it? I think that's a good question. What are you learning from your relationships, and are you taking those opportunities? And are you taking the opportunity to share things? The shadow here is Venus can be very slick and manipulative and fake in Aquarius, trying to fit in where it doesn't belong or fit in with a crowd of people that it shouldn't be running with. And that can create a slippery slope that creates a crisis of confidence in your ability to learn, or your ability to communicate. You're talking a talk, but yeah, it does not really who you really are. And people can tell it. And on Sunday, the moon enters Aries. Emotionally, it's time to gain a little courage and confidence so you can move forward. Face challenges and competitions, knowing that their purpose is to strengthen you. And the shadow here is falling into fear, and that can be anger or it can be cowardice. And that's going to hold you down and back, and it can drive people away from you. I can't think of anything else there. So, yeah, and that's the end of our week. So do follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram where I post, and on the Digital Soul Space where I post deep dives. Last week was a very off week, and so I didn't post as much as I normally do. I hope I never have, as I'm still teaching, and I hope I never have that experience again, not for myself, but for the kids' sake. That was the last week sucked. But nonetheless, I do daily deep dives and I explore these a little bit deeper. You're watching this on YouTube. These three companies make a lot of money off of your data and not sharing very much, if any, with you. Digital Soul Space is it's hosted on Mighty Network, so you own and control your data and you can decide how it is used. I call it the spiritual safe space of the internet. Wide, incredible variety of topics on there. Think of like all the spiritual spaces on Facebook, but without the trolls, because we have four great moderators who do a wonderful job of keeping the trolls out. But I do astrology, but there's crystals, tarot, oracle cards, a wide variety of spiritual practices. I can't think. We've got some really interesting people on there. They're a good group of people. If you ask a question, people will share what they know. It's a wonderful place. There's a free version. There's a paid version. Free version gets you limited access. Paid version gets you access to everything under the sun. I do readings in packages. If you want to see higher chart changes from tropical to true sidereal, order the quick six. That's 6 key points off of your chart, which is a good foundation. If you want to know what your birth contract is, who you came here to become, I do the birth or natal chart reading. An evolutionary astrology, it's not who you are, it's your end all goal. Like Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. Your birth chart is not who you are, it's who you came here to become. It's your end all goal. I also offer what's called a karmic or a past life reading. If you believe in past lives, you had an experience in the past that created negative karma. You're re-experiencing in this life to heal it. I tell you what the karma was, how it was created, and then how you can heal and release it in this lifetime. If you're a one and done, this is a special lesson that you came here to learn. I also do horoscopes. 1 year, any 12 months in a row, any 3 months in a row, or any 1 month. And that can be new moon to new moon or first of the month to last of the month. And I do packages that combine these readings together. So thank you very much. Like, follow, and share. Sign up for the newsletter if you visit my website. It'll be a pop-up. All I need is an email address. If you miss that, click on sign up and the upper right hand corner, and all I need is the email address. You get a once a week newsletter giving you this information and some other additional insights that I don't normally share, and special discounts that are available only to the subscribers. Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a long week. Even my cats are acting up today, so I apologize if this hasn't been the world's greatest reading. I've tried, but my cats this is the quietest they've been all day, and they were still getting in the way. So thank you very much. I appreciate all your patience and understanding. Remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. In the visible sky, you're like, I am not re-recording this. Have yourself a great week. Enjoy the eclipse. Hopefully, it's a good experience for everyone. Thank you very much.